sharing this 30 minutes or so with Sherry Levitin. As you all probably know, Sherry Levitin is the founder of the Sherry Levitin Group, and she has helped create over $1 billion in increased revenue at companies in over 40 different countries. She is also the best-selling author of Heart and Sell, 10 Universal Truths Every Salesperson Needs to Know, which is the chosen textbook of Harvard's strategic selling course. She's also contributed to many articles within Forbes magazine, CEO magazine, countless articles in a number of different magazines. I'm sure you've probably seen Sherry's videos on Instagram and LinkedIn because they have reached over 18 million accounts in the last 90 days alone. Clearly, Sherry is the expert and authority on utilizing video within sales engagement. Without further delay, I now present to you the wickedly funny and energetic Sherry Levitin. Sherry.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful introduction. I appreciate that. And good to be in LinkedInville, LinkedIn Live, my favorite platform.
Hi, Sherry. I'm joining you live today. It's my first time going live with you.
Lindsay, you're joining? I didn't know you were joining.
I am. I'm here to banter back and forth with you, Miss Levitin.
I love that. Well, Lindsay's on our team. So if Lindsay's going to be bantering with me, she's going to be like wicked and vicious. Like, I know that about you, Lindsay. You're going to like just do crazy stuff here. So Lindsay's go ahead, Linz.
Well, what we're doing today is we have had questions sent to us from our LinkedIn fans, our Instagram fans, our people emailing us directly, because this is Ask Me Anything about selling with video.
I'm glad you clarified that, because if it was Ask Me Anything, we could all get in a little bit of trouble here, right? And I probably wouldn't be able to answer.
Awesome. Are you ready, Sherry? You're on the hot seat.
I was born ready, Lindsay.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, we just lost Lindsay. I completely lost Lindsay. So I am guessing that I'm still live. And Molly is coming on right now, but I have a cheat sheet, so we're going to just kind of go with it. Salespeople, this is hugely important. So when your technology fails, because it does, then you've got to kind of like pick up the pace. So we asked for questions in advance, and I have a cheat sheet of these questions. So even without Lindsay like priming me and probing me, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. So the first question that I have here is, what do you say? There's Lindsay.
I'm coming back. I don't know what happened.
Did I upset you? Like you went dark on me. You ghosted me.
I can't believe this.
All right, go ahead and let her rip, Linz. I had a cheat sheet though.
Okay, good. Nothing happened while I was gone.
Okay.
Question number 1. What kind of content do you put on video in the sales process?
Oh my gosh. I want you to, first of all, there's a lot of misnomers about video in the sales process, and everybody's like, well, what do you say? How do you do it? And I want to start and tell you the most important strategy when it comes to video or any technology. You need to have a sales process first, and the technology simply augments it. So it's not like you're really doing anything differently. You're just using video as a medium. So throughout, depending on the stages of your sales process, depending who you're selling to, if it's a complex sale, if it's a simpler sale, let's take a typical B2B sale, because I think most of the people in the audience are selling B2B. You can use it throughout your sales process, wherever you would use phone or email. So you can use it for prospecting. You can use it to become a thought leader or an influencer. Yes, even you as salespeople can be putting out content so that you become familiar. People feel like they know you. So you can use it as a thought leader for prospecting. We love using it to confirm virtual appointments, to make sure cameras are on. This is critical. If you've ever gotten on a Zoom call, Lindsay, we've had it happen between us, and everybody's got their video off. We have done some interesting research. 82% of the time when people's camera isn't on, they're multitasking. Lindsay, do you remember when we asked in one of our master classes, what's the most embarrassing thing you've done with cameras off that's G-rated? And what was the number one response? Like, this is weird.
Before I respond, you've got live listeners here. Why don't you guys in the chat, if you guys can tell us what your thoughts are, what are people doing? And you're never going to believe the answer, but just take a stab at it.
What are people doing when videos are off, when the camera's not on? There's my buddy, Mike Stacy. I love Mikey.
Hi,
Miss you,
Mike.
So what's that? So what are people doing when they're selling virtually and cameras are off? Like, what's the most embarrassing thing you've done? Go ahead and write it in the chat. G-rated.
So we asked a group of sellers, we were doing a masterclass with this eating. Eating was a popular answer. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You would not believe how many people answered that they were cleaning up cat puke.
Like,
I had
seriously?
no idea that there was this many puking cats in the world.
There's a lot of puking cats. Yes.
But this was like a consistent answer among sellers that when their cameras were off, that was what they were doing.
So here's the deal, guys. So 82%. So I love you. The question was, where do you use video? I use it all the way through. I use it to be a thought leader. I use it for prospecting. I use it to confirm an appointment. And I say cameras on, because if cameras are off, 82% chance they're cleaning up cat puke or doing their taxes, or as somebody else said, doing online shopping. The point is they are not listening to you. I'll tell you, my favorite place to use video is right after a discovery call, to do what I call information confirmation, to confirm that I heard the customer, I understood what they said, what they meant. I also love using it to build value, to show complex products, what you want to highlight. And then once you get the deal, guys, what could be better than thanking them, introducing them to your customer service team and telling them what's going to happen next, instead of just grabbing their money and moving on. So the short answer, which was long, is I use video all throughout the entire sales process.
It leads me to another question, and I think this is a great one, and it's very similar. Someone asked, at what point in my sales process should I begin implementing video? And what it really brings me to think about is what we do in our master classes about the buyer's journey, and kind of having people think that way about inserting video. What are your thoughts on that, Sherry?
Yeah, what we do this great exercise where, first of all, I believe that sales organizations spend way too much time documenting and thinking about the sales process, and not nearly enough time thinking about the buying process and the buyer's journey. And the buyer's journey has changed drastically, right? Customers aren't buying linear anymore. They're looking on your website, they're talking, then they talk to a friend, then they might, look on social media. So they're sort of all over the place.
Served an ad because they Googled something. I mean, there's
exactly. And then they're getting a Google ad. So it's really all over the place. So I think what you want to do is sort of document all of the touch points that your customers go through before they ever talk to a human, and even after they talk to a human. And we like to look at that and say, okay, here's where you send an email. Here's where you send a text. Would a video be more effective? And here's why a video, in my mind, when it comes to asynchronous communication, which we'll talk about in a moment, is always more effective than an email or a phone call. And I'm going to give you a few reasons for that. Number one, we've all heard the statistics. Communication between humans is 7% the words you use, 38% your tone, and 55% body language. In an email, that means you're only communicating 93% of your intent. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've ever gotten into like a texting argument or an email argument, you can sort of soften things with emojis, but people misunderstand you very often. So one reason is you're getting a lot more human communication, and your message is going to land a lot better. I would say another reason for video is it's novel. It's just different. I mean, Lindsay, I remember years ago when I got my first AOL account, and you remember the noise it made? It went, You're probably too young to remember. But
no,
anyway,
I remember.
I'm curious, if you got like an AOL, like an email, you've got mail. Yeah, you've got mail. Then what would happen is you'd be like, oh, I gotta immediately read that email. Well, it's the same with video today. It's novel, it's new. That's why the open rate's so much higher on video. So what you're going to do, the other reason for video is you're going to penetrate your potential buyers a lot better. So that's a second reason. And then I would say a third reason is it's a great differentiator. Your competitors aren't using it yet. I believe the stats are less than 5% of sellers are even utilizing video. So you're going to really separate yourself from the crowd and humanize that communication.
That really leads into a great topic. Griffin in Virginia from Instagram asked us, am I too late to the game to start using video?
Oh my God, Griffin, no, you are not too late. Now, if you wait 2 or 3 years to start using Hippo, you're a little late. But now is the time. There has never been a better time to use video. Look, we're in a world where sales is changing forever. And the pandemic just escalated the changes of much more virtual selling and hybrid selling. So companies are realizing if they don't have a hybrid/virtual strategy, I mean, look what happened to people in the pandemic that only had a face-to-face option. They tanked, right? And then companies that were able to pivot and adapt to this virtual hybrid world did really well. And part of this hybrid experience is incorporating video, and we are just there now. That's why companies like Facebook and Google are saying, look, sellers, you can work half the time from home, half the time in the office. We are undergoing a huge shift in how we work, how we play, and how we sell. And video, more than any other technology, is what humanizes the process and gives you that ability to connect.
We have a question from a viewer that we have live right now, Kristen. And it's something we talk about internally. So she's saying, do you write a message to accompany your video via email? She appreciates the video, but sometimes when she's going back for information, she doesn't want to play all the way through it. She'd rather read the info. What are your thoughts, Sherry?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, Lindsay.
How much information should go in the body of the email that reiterates or leads into the video?
Oh, that's a great question. And again, it depends where you are in your sales process. I just did an event yesterday for a client on how to do the perfect demo. And I have seen so many demos lately of really good sellers that just have too much information. I want you to understand something, and particularly for those of you that are first generation smartphone users, there has been an escalation of content that is unprecedented. Neuroscientists tell us, as a community, as a nation, as a world, we have created 5 times as much content in the last few years than in all of humankind. So what that means is people are overloaded with information. And the biggest mistake salespeople make, take video out of it, is we give the customer so much data and so much information that they are incapable of making a decision. And people would rather make no decision than make the wrong decision. That's why status quo is your number one competitor in almost anything you're selling. I want to think about it, I'm not sure. So my simple answer to you is, if you can focus your video communication, your follow-up email communication on 3 major business problems, or if you're selling B2C, the 3 major pain points that the customer is experiencing, I would keep it to 3. Look, if you start telling them, 26 things that your product does, they're going to glaze over, right? So I try to think, what are the 3 top features, benefits, solutions that I'm going to focus on, and no more. And that's really how you want to organize your demos. That's how you want to organize when you get back on a video. Greg and Marcus, earlier we talked about these 3 challenges you're experiencing. Number 1, you have very, very low engagement on your CRM. Number 2, so whatever the pain points are, that's the way you want to start. You never want to lead with your product. Here's what my product does. It's amazing. You want to lead with the problems that your product solves.
I love it, Sherry. So really what we're seeing is there's already information overload for customers. And we as sellers can't complicate that by giving way too much information. So,
which is also why I just want to say one other thing. A really good use of video, and Lindsay, you and I have used this in our company, is customers are hiring us to maybe a training masterclass or the 4 pillars of how to train and coach, whatever that may be. We may have a brochure that's 6 to 8 pages long. I'm going to, with video, highlight the 3 most important points that are personalized to the customer in front of me, rather than just going, read my 8-page brochure, right? I'm going to really pinpoint what matters to them.
absolutely. And so when they're embedding a video using Hippo and creating even a sales page, Kristen's definitely wondering, and I've got another question from another Kristen, and it's a big question. We got asked a lot in the lead up to this, but how do you want to position your subject line in order to get higher open rates? And how much lead-in information actually goes in that body of the email that is going to prompt people to really click through to their Hippo sales page and listen to the rest of your videos?
It's a great question. Yeah, if the subject line's not good and they never open it, nothing else matters. What you don't want to say in a subject line is just following up, free gift for you, because I will tell you as a CEO, I wake up every morning and I go delete, 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 delete. So first off, and I can give you a little formula for this, but I like it's subject lines are an art and a science. Research shows that 3 lines in a subject line is probably your best subject line. And there's a lot of ways. I'm sorry, 3 words, not 3 lines. Thank you. 3 words. Thank you, Lindsay.
I'm on it.
3 words is best, but sometimes you might need a little bit more. So it might be, increasing your blah, 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 decreasing your blah, blah, blah. We've had great success lately with just 2 words, our meeting. It's a little tricky, but a lot of times CEOs and VPs will open it because they're like, oh my goodness, did I miss a meeting? What you don't want to do is mislead people though. And so there's a really fine line there. You don't want to mislead them in the subject line. That's not good. But getting back to what should be in it, in the email, I would never have more than 4 lines. And I'm going to give you a little bit of formula. It's kind of like a compliment sandwich. Y'all heard of a compliment sandwich? So, if you want to give someone constructive criticism, you want to start with a compliment, show them what they can work on, and then end with a compliment. A great prospecting email is the same. So I want to start with what's called show me, you know me. And show me, you know me is a sort of a phrase that's been around. I believe Samantha, what's Samantha's last name? It just escaped me, my brain, invented this. I want to give her credit for this. But what that is in the first line, really what you want to do is you want to say something about, I noticed that you. So something about their company that you looked up on LinkedIn, or, hey, I saw that you just ran a half marathon. Congratulations. Anything that shows that you know them and that you paid attention. It's even a better connection if you're commenting on something that they wrote, something they believe in, connecting on what I call values, not vocation. So I see that you donate to the Red Cross. I love that. Your second line then really needs to link to the problem you solve. The reason for my video outreach is, and then you want to have a reason for your outreach. Then the third thing, you're going to make an ask. I would love just a little bit of your time to help you with ABC, which is the problem. And then you always want to let them off the hook. You just don't want to be too salesy. If this doesn't work for you, no problem. Check my LinkedIn profile for some free resources. And then you want to give them some value, or maybe give them an article or something of value. The more value we can give somebody, the more engaged they'll be. So thank you, Samantha McKenna. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I just like it's, like when your brain just freezes. Thank you, Samantha McKenna. She's awesome. You ought to follow her as well.
Amazing. This leads to a great question. You stated how you could create that compliment sandwich or the show me you know me in the email. Nick from Texas asked on Instagram, how do you relate to someone, create rapport on a personal level using video in the sales process?
Yeah, again, it's just all about doing your homework. I can't emphasize that enough. For some reason, sellers are still back in the 1980s when I started in selling and just thinking it's a numbers game. It's not anymore. It's a quality game. So if I want to reach out to somebody, I'll tell you a quick story. We had a demo that we were doing with a company. They were in the real estate industry. And I was one of 3 vendors, and we had 3 to 4 decision makers. And one of them said, Sherry, we're talking to 2 other vendors. I don't want you to waste your time. But Jay, he loves this other vendor. He's really prickly. When you do the demo, I just wanted to let you know he's going to have his arms folded and he's going to be really difficult. So what we did is we went on Jay's LinkedIn profile. Jay, maybe you're listening. And looked up everything we could find about him. All right, I found out where he lives. That's what I call shallow rapport. I found out that he's a skier. So am I. That's, rapport based on what I would say vocation or activities. But then we found a podcast that he had been on 3 years ago. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I listened to that whole podcast. And so what happened was when I had a pre-call with Jay prior to the demo, I said, Jay, I just listened to your podcast on the 9 principles of leadership. And I will tell you, 7 really resonated with me. And here's why. Well, all of a sudden, Mr. I'm not interested went, wow, where did you find that? You really listened to that? Because it was this show me, you know me. And then when I went down for the demo, Jay said, well, I found Sherry on LinkedIn. He was taking credit for it, et cetera. But I can't tell you how important it is to build rapport based on that. My friend Beck Holland has a really good distinction. She talks about the 5 levels of looking somebody up on LinkedIn. We have something similar we call the 5 levels of intimacy. But at the lower end, just where somebody went to school, what they like to do, that's the lower end of intimacy and rapport. The higher end is something they authored, something they believe in. That's how you build instant rapport. If you're selling to a large company, if they're new to the role, you want to look for trigger events. Did they just get acquired? Did they have a new VP? Did they just, have a great second quarter? You can mention that. Again, it's not as personal as talking about something somebody authored, but that's how you build rapport on video. Takes time.
Sherry, let's get practical and tactical here, okay? How many videos are too many in the sales cycle? How long is your sales cycle is the first question, right?
This is art and science, right? What I would do, and one of the great things about Hippo video, and I think probably the best part about Hippo video is that you can track, measure, and monitor when people are opening the video. And I don't know about you, but when my sales team gets to work on Monday, they have been instructed, look, we sent out 50 Hippo videos last week. And I tell our head of sales, I want you to look first at who opened the videos and who didn't, because if they opened it, that means they're engaged. And I want to talk to my most engaged customers. Well, the answer is the same. So how many is too many? If they stop opening them, stop sending them. Try something else. You may send something in snail mail, right? It's all about omni-channel sales and marketing. So you need to try a different tactic. So it's really sort of art and science. And this is the art part where you've got to see if they're opening your videos, keep sending them. If they're not, try something different.
That track, measure, and monitor is great. I will say 2 things that we see with Hippo is 1, an email comes straight to our email box that has a great, cute little tagline on it, like, hey, Sherry Leviton, your video's picking up steam. It's on fire. You know,
I
all
love
those.
that. I know.
I know. I'm like, yes, pat on the back for me today. But also that we have created the API bridge over, and we're getting some of that information into HubSpot so that we can see the entire customer journey and how they're interacting with us, both on video, but also on the website and email marketing and all of the different omni-channel communication that we're doing
Well,
to the process.
yeah, and here's the cool thing. Remember, we're able to get a deal from a huge Fortune 500 company because we saw that we sent a video to one of the decision makers, and then we saw that it was watched 26 times. So we knew that Charlie had sent it throughout the entire organization. And so it's just an indicator to see where the engagement is instead of just, shotgun selling like we used to do in the 80s.
What is the ideal video length to keep your prospects watching all the way till the end?
Depends how engaging you are. I will tell you what you don't want to do is, hi, I'm Sherry. I'm here in Park City and the weather's great. They don't need a weather report. So you want to get right to it. I like my videos today to be under 60 seconds. Your watch rate will be a lot more if it's short. I'm also going to give you a couple of quick tips. You want to start right away. Obviously, you want to use their name. You don't want a lot of uhs and ums. You need to know how to pronounce their name. But I get right into it right away. And I also like telling people, I'm going to share 3 things with you. I like numbering things because what it does is it makes the mind want to listen, right? So there's all these techniques for getting people to listen. Numbering things is one. I'm going to give you 2 more. If everything's important, nothing's important. Even in a 1-minute video, you will see me say, now, if you hear nothing else I say, I like to separate out what's important from what's not important. I also like to tease them about what's going to happen at the end. Now, at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the number 1 reason, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's about keeping that engagement because attention spans are so short today. Even in a 60-minute video, you've got to be poppy. I will say, you don't need to script it. And one of the biggest reasons people don't get on video is they're self-conscious. You don't have to be. Authenticity today rules. I have made more mistakes on video. I did not script this today. Don't worry about your background. I'm in front of a bookshelf today. I just recorded a video the other day, literally at a gun club with a shotgun. Why? Because I knew the guy was a hunter and he was now you don't want to do, a video, a shotgun for somebody who's like really into animal rights and PETA and like, with a gun, and you got to know your audience, right? But you can, take chances. You can have some fun. You can do them outside. You can do them on a trampoline, whatever you is. If you're into driving race cars, do it from the seat of a race car. Have some fun. That's the most important thing I can tell you.
Sherry, we are almost finished with our half an hour, which I cannot even believe. You have 2 minutes left, and I want to end with this one because I think it's a great transition from where you just were. Tina from Massachusetts on Instagram asked us, what are some tips for not embarrassing yourself while using video?
Tina, I'll tell you the best technique for if you do make a mistake. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but years ago, when Firefox would go down, literally it would say right on the screen, we're so embarrassed, Firefox is down. If you do something embarrassing on video, the minute you say, I'm so embarrassed, boy, did I mess that up, the embarrassment tends to go away. Guys, this is human. Don't be embarrassed. You are being a human. Own it. Have fun with it. Say, blah, 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 I'm not talking well today, am I? But just be yourself. And the best way to get good at video is the best way to get good at anything in life. It takes practice and it takes courage. So you've got to have the courage to try it. And then you've got to practice. It's like playing an instrument or doing a sport. I hated video at first, and I still hate watching myself sometimes, but it gets easier and easier as you practice.
Sherry, thank you so much. Heidi, Hippo Video, thank you so much for your partnership and working with us. I hope for all of those who have listened live today or will listen later that you walked away with some ideas about how to get started using video, where to use video, how to create video, those practical and tacticals about your subject line or your email content. I would say the biggest takeaway that I have, and I'm glad you got there, Sherry, was it takes a little bit of courage, confidence. Sales takes courage and confidence. So we just encourage you to give it a shot. Log on to Hippo's website. I believe there's free trial options, and get started using video today. You'll definitely see an increase in your engagement with your customers. Any parting words, Sherry?
Yeah, I would just say that, you know, again, I want to reiterate that if you think about what sales is at its core, we're asking people to change. We're asking them to change something they're doing, which means getting out of their comfort zone. And sellers, unless we get out of our comfort zone, we can't possibly ask our customers to get out of theirs. And video, the secret weapon today of sellers. You're not too late. You're right on time. And if you don't do it now, it'll be like, oh, I don't have an internet address. Everybody's going to be doing it in 3 years, in 5 years. So if you sign up now, you're going to be one of those pioneers. You'll differentiate and make more sales and build long-term relationships.
Thank you, listeners. See you next time.